All right, welcome back to another episode of Star 42. I am Michael.
I'm Jace.
Yeah, there we go. And I think this is the most exciting thing ever. As a guest, we have the infamous bow tie wearing magician of ServiceNow everything, Chuck Tomasi. I don't have a sound thing, but yeah, we love
I got
Chuck.
some sound things. Here, we'll use a
There you
Star
go. I
Trek.
figured you had some sound things. There we go. So
Totally
we
fits. I love
are
it.
excited to have Chuck join us. And Chuck, if I'm correct, you sent this in an email. How many podcasts have you been since you've had your, I don't say it happily because you did retire, but we're going to say it happy for you. But since that day of which you stepped back from ServiceNow.
Since September 6, 2024, I have been included in, let me count them, 0 podcasts.
We are the first.
You are
to
the
have
first.
guests.
Yes, there
All
were
right.
3 in the pipeline, and they just sort of faded away. I think they didn't want to talk to me anymore. It's like,
That's a crime against humanity. And if anyone doesn't know this already, Chuck literally wrote, I have a green screen on, so it kind of doesn't come out.
I don't. It will.
Okay, great. He wrote the book on podcasting. More importantly, if you're like me, I love to get autographs. And it's like, Michael, thank you for all the help. And then it says like, dumb stuff like continue to follow your passion, whatever. But oh, my Google.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Anyway.
I don't have that book in paper. I should order it since we're on a podcast.
Yes. And bring it to, I guess, wherever Chuck is nowadays and get it signed because you should. But anyway, as we said before, with Star 42, we took several weeks off for vacations and such, but we are happy to be back. And more importantly, there's been a lot of stuff going on. So as always, we have a few topics lined up, but more importantly,
how were your vacations and such? Don't just gloss over them.
I know,
my
you're right.
led
my
up to it in
vacation
the last
was
show. Let's give a quick recap. What happened?
right.
Did you see anything new? Is there news to share?
So
you had
all right, I'll go first. I'm going to lead this one. So normally we do like a Disney World or Disney cruise. We're Disney people. I got the tattoos to show how much I love Star Wars, all that fun stuff. But we decided to do something different, and we went out to West Coast. So we spent a couple days in San Diego, a few more days at Disneyland, of course, and then a few days in LA. And I used to live in LA, so it's kind of cool to be around where I was. Didn't join any riots. So, no fun there necessarily, but I did meet up, and this was the coolest thing. I did finally meet a longtime ServiceNow friend of mine by the name of Brian Hollinsworth. I think you know Brian, right?
Yep.
He's been around. He was here at least 3 years before I was in the ServiceNow world. And I've kind of always known his wife because she has the same birthday as my daughter, and they've always like chatted and messages and stuff. But it was the first time we're like, Brian, we got to get together. So we actually had a chance to get together with the families.
Nice.
And it was awesome. Like his wife is amazing, sweet, wonderful person. His daughter is so funny. His daughter and my daughter were just going back and forth and gossiping. And I really want to say it was almost like the highlight of the vacation. The rest of it was crazy with travel and kids and, everything else. We had fun, but it was what I would classify as a family trip, not a family vacation. And I'm sure if you have kids, you know the difference. But yeah, we had fun nonetheless. And it was awesome. We did something a little different. So it was cool. And shout out to Brian. I'm sure he doesn't listen, but awesome guy, great friend.
So my trip was not nearly as far, but we drove. We're in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Midwest, you drive in Midwest.
We drive. We drove to South Dakota, all the way across to Rapid City area. There's a resort-ish place we stayed called Horse Creek Resort.
Okay.
It's really nice. It's backed up against like some federal land, and there was some like just cattle grazing and people tending to some horses over there, like walking them around and stuff, and not too far from a lake. And so we hit up all like the touristy spots, reptile gardens. My kids got to see snakes and lizards and all that stuff.
Oh, my daughter would love that.
There's a farm out there called McDonald's Farm.
Okay.
Right.
Was it
so I got to see all that.
Old McDonald, or was it like a young McDonald? Like, was it a Gen Alpha McDonald?
There wasn't a McDonald person there. There's just a bunch of kids working there, right? Because that's what it is. But yeah, it wasn't just me and my family. That was my family, my wife's brother, or my wife's sister and her husband, and their 2 kids, and then my wife's parents. So it's 10 of us. So it's a whole huge thing. And on the way out there, our AC stopped working, so that wasn't fun. We got that fixed on Wednesday. And then on the way back, my brother-in-law's motor partly exploded, so we had to get that fixed. So, you know, just some car stuff.
That's his motor actually exploded? Like,
there was a recall on some Toyota Tundras, and I guess one of the camshafts would had an issue. But Toyota's a great company. They just fixed it, replaced it, like everything on the house.
Well, especially especially Tundras, because of like pickup trucks that have millions of miles on them. I think like Tundra and Tacomas are the only ones that do. So they you can't
you're
ruin
exactly
that.
right. Yeah, so they had spare motors on hand because they knew it was a recall and knew it was a situation. So
all right,
it wasn't a big deal, but thankfully there was enough vehicles for them to get back to go to work, and Grandma and Grandpa were to still stay a couple extra days.
Awesome.
But it was fantastic.
All right, and then I got to know, Chuck, like, what have you been up to recently? Like, I know are you ultimate like vacation every day? Like,
no. My wife tries to get us on one trip / vacation a month. So we started out very similar to you, actually. We went to San Diego as a goodbye party on my retirement day. And ServiceNow is really quick about disabling my badge at 5 p.m. because I left the building and went, hey, I wonder if I can. Nope.
And to people out there who want to trust us for security and security operations and everything, know that we take it very seriously.
We did Disney. Then we had an anniversary trip to Mexico in early October, late October, early November. We took a road trip to Michigan and Wisconsin.
Yep.
Took December and January off because I had a foot surgery. So I was wearing a boot. Didn't want to travel anywhere for about 7-8 weeks there. Got the boot off. We went to El Centro, California for an ukulele fest. Had a wonderful time with about 50 other people.
Nice.
Then we went on the Star Trek cruise. Well, first we went to the Keys for 4 days. Then we got on the Star Trek cruise. Then we went on the same ship on the 80s cruise. We tried a back-to-back cruise, realized we don't have enough gas in the tank to make that work again. So it could have been a lot more fun had we had the energy. Let's see. That was beginning of February, mid-February, March. I can't remember what March was. April was Lake Havasu, Arizona.
Did you visit the London Bridge?
We did.
Not many people know that.
I've been there before, so I have pictures of both. So this was like a week in Lake Havasu. We had a wonderful time on the lake. We rented a pontoon, spent time with my sister-in-law and her husband. Then, March was a wedding. We went up to Wyoming for a family wedding. Like my wife's great niece, something, way out in the family line. Basically her sister's granddaughter got married. And that was March. April was Lake Havasu. May was an Alaska land and sea tour. So we went on land for 5 days. We went on a cruise, came back through the Inside Passage, had a developer meetup in Vancouver on May 31st. Thank you, Glenn and Monette.
And Vancouver is an awesome city. If anyone's never been there.
That was visit number 3 for me. And then June was North Rim of the Grand Canyon for a week-long star party. So lots of telescopes, lots of just wandering around in the woods, we also went to Page and did Upper Antelope Canyon and Lee's Ferry and did this boat trip up the river. Just a lot of good outdoor disconnect time. And July is, unfortunately, we got to go back to Michigan for my mother's funeral. But then Dragon Con.
I'm very sorry.
Thank you. She passed away in the beginning of May at age 90. Long, wonderful life. Her health had been declining the last year or so. So, she's in a better place, and look forward to seeing family. There's going to be a lot of laughs. There's going to be a lot of tears.
Okay. Well, it's
tears of celebrate the life. Celebrate the life.
Absolutely.
And I have to ask, where in Michigan? And if you're from Michigan, I used to live there. You always go like this,
No, you forgot the other hand. Dude.
Well, okay. I was lower. I was LP.
You're a troll. I'm a Youper.
I know.
I was raised a Youper anyway. From age 2 to 22, we lived in Marquette, Michigan.
Oh, okay. You were a Youper, yeah. That, and then anyone who visits are known as Fudgies. I remember that. I don't know if that's in the UP. In the LP, it was visitors were Fudgies.
Well, the fudge
what
is
is
made in the Lower Peninsula. Mackinac City is where the fudge all comes from.
I don't know why the name was Fudgy. I don't. That was just what it was.
So weird.
We have to explain this though. The Upper Peninsula is the UP, so people are called Upers. UP. Yes. Okay.
Sure.
The Lower Peninsula people, for the Upers, they refer to them as trolls because
you're
they're
below
from
the
bridge.
Yeah.
Right, under the bridge.
All right.
Yes. And the Mackinac Island, that's like right in the Straits of Mackinac, because technically it's not in one of the lakes, it's in the Straits. A little bit of Michigan.
And my wife just said, I want to spend a night at the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island. I'm like, what? This came right out of the blue, but I'm for it. Let's make it happen.
So so when I was in Michigan, my dad was a hospital administrator and he was part of the Michigan Hospital Association. And every year we'd go to Mackinac Island and stay in the Grand Hotel for their big conference. So I was a kid. I've stayed there before. And it is gorgeous. It's really cool. Here's the thing. There's no central air. They give you one little fan. And of course, if you go in the summertime, it's humid.
It could
it's hot
be
and humid. It's miserable.
Is there a chance they've upgraded since you've been there?
It has been several years. I would be very surprised if they did because
it's a historic building.
It's a historic building, yeah. And it also has, I think, the world's largest porch or patio, right?
Something like that. It's
like more
huge porch out front.
More trivia. And when you go up there, that's where they filmed the movie Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeves, the Superman I know and love. And
no spoilers about the new movie on this show.
Yes. Yeah, really. Well, okay. I like the dog in it. I'm a dog person. But then they have the movie all over the place, like, because it was filmed there, was a big deal. But it is gorgeous. The food's amazing. But yeah, I personally, I think you should stay at another hotel that's like more modern and then visit the Grand Hotel because of the central air conditioning thing. That's or
go in October during color season.
Or you know what? Actually, is the best time and drive like down Michigan 22, stop at Frankfurt, see the leaves.
Have to plan my October carefully because there's an event on October 17th I'm committed to.
Oh, good. Can you share or is it some? Oh, yes. Yes.
I was waiting for the light bulb. Oh, that was priceless.
It was coming. It was coming. We're going to talk about that later on too, by the way, for all those. It was from Jace's big announcement last one. But let's keep with the basic format where, we do have a few topics and news and whatever, and not that we'll go down rabbit holes, right?
Onto the tech.
Yeah, onto some of the tech. So I think one of the biggest tech news, we were just talking about this, is the fact that OpenAI is making a browser.
That's pretty cool.
So here's my take on the browser situation. I was kind of explaining to this when I was saying, hey, there's other companies, some that, provide ServiceNow as maybe an example, who I think would be great if they created a browser. And here's my take on it. And it's a playbook from Apple. Apple controls the whole user experience from the software to the hardware, all the way to the user. And I'm a huge, big advocate of user experience. And when you control that whole thing, you can give a very tailored experience and you've got better connection between the front end UI and the back end apps. And, I'm wondering, is that where OpenAI is going towards? And then, of course, the other part about it is, are they just using this as a way to collect more data about you? Which Google owns all my data already. So do I care?
I'd be really curious to see what this is like. I personally do not want to use a browser that all I do is type questions at it. It has to be some hybrid model that leverages ChatGPT. Because my experience today is when I go to Google and make a search, I often look at the AI results at the top. How do I how do I make a morph in PowerPoint? Oh, select your slide, click animate, transitions, do morph, blah, blah, blah. How do I sort a multi-dimensional array of objects on more than one property? Here's a code snippet or several. So the answers at the top are very, very good. My use of Stack Overflow has gone way down in the last year. So I'll be curious to see how they implement. Is it going to be a similar experience like that?
Where I'm totally different.
Typing.
I think you can get a big hit though, because there's already an AI browser out there by Perplexity called Comet.
I did
that
not
was
know
released
that.
not too long ago. the founder of HubSpot, Dharmesh, I can't say his last name. He writes a lot on LinkedIn, and he's all about it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up because the newest browser that I have worked some in already is something called Arc, the Arc browser, and it's a different take on the browser because the premise is, hey, things you're using on your webs on the web are like apps. So let's go ahead and put Windows and treat it more like applications versus websites with tabs and stuff. And I've liked some of it because it gives you a full window of every like quote unquote page or site you're in. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, this. But and this kind of speaks to the fact that as I've gotten older, I've gotten much harder to transition to new things. And so I'm like, well, it's kind of cool, but I'm going back to my tried and true. I know, don't make fun of me, please. I'm going back to Edge.
Yes. The Arc browser is already dead, though.
Is it already dead? Okay, good.
They discontinued service. They already discontinued new development on it like a few weeks ago.
Or I noticed and I observed it's just not going to catch, and I was just like, I'm not wasting my time.
You're a trendsetter.
I'm a trendsetter. Yes. But I did notice in Microsoft Edge, I use Edge, and sometimes I'm on a Windows machine, and it just upgraded to like integrate with AI. And something came up that said, hey, now we can like use AI to see what you're seeing and give you answers. And so to your point, Chuck, it seems like it's going away from, well, you're typing questions to we're like writing along with your browsing experience.
Yeah.
And we can help you get answers for stuff maybe you're looking at.
Well, similar to what, I don't know what turned on VS Code, but it's writing a lot more code for me now. It's like, it's almost like predictive that it's like, here's a big JSON object. And it goes, oh, you probably want to write a for loop that does a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, yeah, I do. Tab, tab, tab. And I've got, 8 more lines of code that I didn't write. That's spot on what I want to do. That's insane.
Well,
sounds
you know
like Copilot.
I
think Copilot got turned on, but I'm not complaining. It's also really, really good at figuring out your Git commit messages.
Really?
Yeah, Craig Stepp turned me on to that. He's been raving about it for the last few days and went, okay, I'm going to give this a try. I have some Node.js code that I need to, work out this one issue that I was doing between Google and Notion. And I forgot I made a code change like 2 months ago. And when I did the commit, it said, here's what you did in a nice English sentence. I went, wow, it's great for, the forgetful programmer who forgot what you did.
I always do those things on the terminal. Maybe you guys do it differently.
I just use the icon on the side and then say, right-click commit, sync changes, done.
God, when I was writing in Fortran, I would have loved that.
Oh, I would have loved this.
Some people are probably like, wait, how old are you?
I would have loved this experience like back in the 80s when the only tech support you got was by calling the company. I asked some pretty dumb questions to HP back in 1989, but here I am today. And, if they say you learn by
the internet, they were just taken on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. And they wrote it on 8.5, by 11 pad of paper as well.
My first CMDB was a 3-ring binder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had 33 workstations to manage, and I knew exactly, what the IP or the host address and the, what was installed on every one of them and the maintenance log that I had done for every one of them. It's like, yeah, that was ahead of its time, but
back then you could put that on a 3-ring binder, right?
Yes.
You can't do that today. You can't even go through and find all your stuff, that you have because it's all virtual. It's like virtually it exists, but you don't know where. But anyway, so the AI world is going that way. And the one thing I'll definitely give credit to, at least in the ServiceNow world with the Now Assist for the creator part with the scripting, I wasn't using it a whole lot to like write stuff, but it's finally to do that. It started to do that same thing that VS Code does, where there's pop-ups like, oh, is this what you want? And I'm like, oh, yes, now you're finally getting it. I'm Gen X. I don't ask for help. I need you to insert into what I'm doing and say, hey, by the way. And I think for me, as being that Gen X person, last of the Gen X's when I was born, I need AI to do that. I need AI to be like, look, we know you're not going to ask for help. Hey, is this what you're looking for? Yeah. And if my browser can do that, I'm going to be like, all right, you get me. But basically, are we all in consensus for the most part that OpenAI is really just more than anything, they just want your data, just like everybody else wants your data.
Yeah.
Everybody wants your data.
Meta,
Everybody.
Google. Well, and that's the ironic thing is like one of the reasons why. So I'm a TikTok junkie. I just love to swipe and it's my dopamine hit. I admit it. My Chinese spy knows everything that I like. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
But like one of the things that, we know politically is the United States banned TikTok. Now, there was never, ever data breach or anything that indicated they were stealing US data, right? But through if you're a conspiracy theorist, which I'm becoming these days, there's this thing where like Zuckerberg tried to get Facebook into China. And of course, they're like, no, because we control everything. And so he was like, fine, I'm going to go lobby with my billions and then get you guys thrown out of the US. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's not like it's a real security issue. It's just more like, no, I wanted Chinese data. And now that I'm not getting that, I'm going to try to get you thrown out, which ironically enough, everyone went to the actual Chinese app when TikTok was banned. And they're like, we don't care. So that's the interesting thing too, because you have to wonder, like, if something works better for you, do you really care if they get your data?
That's a great question.
I care.
Yeah. You care.
I want to control that stuff.
I want to know what data they have. Yeah, and then I can decide whether I care or not. If all they're getting is, my crummy search results so that they can feed me better code snippets or something, yeah, I'm fine with that. But if they're crawling around my hard drive, no.
Okay, that's fair. So I think it's interesting. We kind of got three levels across the spectrum where I'm just like, you know what, at this point, I don't care. And maybe it's because, once again, tail end of Gen X, I'm just like, I don't, my father once said to me, son, ignorance and apathy are taking over the world. How do you feel about that? I was just like, I don't know. I don't care.
That's a great joke.
Yeah. And actually, it's true too. And in Chuck, so you're like more middle of the road, which is probably the average, right? Like, I care. I want freedom to decide what's happening, which is very American, by the way. And then Jace, you're the absolutely not. You want to control it.
I use services that require my data. I don't want to use many of them. I would much rather have my own versions of them, because then they don't disappear. They don't do stuff like increase your bill because you were starting to look for something else. You know what I mean? Like, it's no thanks.
Craig and I were just having this discussion about URL shorteners. Yeah. So a couple of years ago,
that's a big problem.
I was turned on to a service called short.io, and they have REST APIs, so started making a ServiceNow integration. We use them for all of the devlink.sn links at ServiceNow, and Lisa Holenstein was the one who turned me on to that. And I created a couple of domains personally that I can then use for free. It's like, and then Craig came up and he said he was using one that he self-hosted. So this is where, do you self-host? It had many of the same features with analytics and custom URLs, or if you don't give it a custom suffix, it'll come up with the 5 random characters. And I said, there's only so many more things I want to self-host, because you start getting into that patch cycle and keeping it updated. And where do you go for support? If it's free and it's got a few URLs on it, I'm okay with that.
But even those shorteners, like, I know ServiceNow shortener broke like 3 months ago. Like, it stopped working. They had to like redirect a bunch of links.
Oh, that hurts.
Really?
On the developer.servicenow.com page, like, it had an iframe of the shortener like page that was supposed to be working, and it wasn't working. And I don't know if that was a self-hosted version or if that was the paid version. But
if
the
you were
point
using
is,
a
like,
devlink.sn link, that was hosted through short.io.
Yeah, and that wasn't working for like a day and a half.
It was about 3 months ago. They probably forgot to pay the domain renewal, which I gave to Earl and said, don't forget, set yourself a calendar reminder.
You know what? More technology issues, especially in the internet, are coming about because somebody simply forgot to pay for something. Great example of that. Equifax breach, whatever, years ago, which, by the way, if anyone ever steals my identity again, just know there's not many Michael Slobodniks in the world. And if you try to buy a car with my name, people are probably going to be able to find me and let me know it's happening, which is exactly what happened with Equifax. I actually They gave me the number of the person. I actually called them. I'm like, maybe go with a John Smith, not a Michael Slobodnik, of which only one other lived and they died like in the 70s. But needless to say, Equifax breach happened, from what I understand, because there was a certificate that maintained the security and someone forgot to like pay the bill for it. And
or renew it or something.
Yeah, renew it or something. And so, it goes into, hey, pay your bills, people. Don't be a deadbeat dad of the web.
That was a big part of my retirement offboarding in 2024. When I came up with the idea at Christmas of 23, suddenly this project erupts in front of my face going, what am I doing for phone service, for the laptop that work gave me? What am I going to do what are all these things that I'm responsible for technically, procedurally, that I need to hand off? So I was going through on a weekly, if not daily basis going, is this something that I need to get rid of or inform somebody of? And yeah, that was a number of them. I gave this sheet. I said, Earl, I have these 4 instances. Are you willing to inherit them, keep them up to date until death do you part, kind of thing?
Yeah.
And he did. And then I said, okay, you also know that devlink.sn is hosted by EuroDNS. It ain't cheap, but that's how we got the Senegal suffix of .sn. In retrospect, I would have done it a little differently today, but
maybe .tech.
Well, later I did register sndev.link for a lot cheaper.
Okay, that works.
That would have worked too. But I said, here, you can use that one as a test domain if you need to test any APIs or anything. But anyway, that whole offboarding, retirement is more than just saving up your pennies for a rainy day kind of thing. Is there intellectual property involved? Do you have any patents or trademarks that you own or the company owns? It gets really messy, and a lot of people don't think about that until, fortunately, I had 9 months to think about it. But some people go, I'll give a 2-week notice. Like, bad. But we're not here to talk about career advice.
No, man. And I'm not going to retire anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Ever?
I want to retire next week.
I've been thinking about retirement since I started working when I was 10 years old.
Yeah, no, it's not happening. I mean, my retirement quote unquote plan may be to like bump down to part-time and just be like, hey, look, this is my dream. You only tell me my dream, total tangent. I was recently working with a customer and they had not a very good implementation happen. And it was one of those cases where you sit back in hindsight being 22 and you're like, why did the customer say yes to this stuff? Pardon me. Why did the partner say yes to this when they knew there'd be challenges? And I realized, I would love to form my own company of consulting, not these days because my kids are little and, whatever, but I'm not there yet. But eventually form my own consulting company around maybe ServiceNow or something and be like, I am myself and the few people I work with are the absolute best. You're never going to get better. And I want to be in such a position that I'm so well known to be that good that customers will come to me and I'll be like, all right, you want this done? This is the price. And if they say, well, no, I'm going to be like, then we're not doing it. Like, I want to be known to actually say no to people.
Kind of like how do that when it's your own gig.
And yeah, but I just want to be known for that where, like, if you look at Epic Software with the health record system,
yeah,
like they almost have no salespeople. They will turn people away, if they're not big enough or whatever. And I'm like, that, you made it as a vendor or technology provider when you can say to those people coming to you and you can say, absolutely not, I'm not doing it. It's going to fail. I don't want to be a part of it.
I still want to turn that model on its head. I want to own my medical records.
That's a good point.
There ought to be a cloud site out there that says these are private to Chuck unless he shares them. So you go get an X-ray. First, you have to have a referral to a doctor who sends you to the medical place. They get the X-rays. They send them back to the doctor. They're not mine. If I change doctors, I don't. There's this process of going through. It's like I ought to have an app on my phone that says, "Ding, Dr. Folger requests your latest kidney, whatever," and you go, "I approve," or "No, that's invalid," or "You can have them for 30 days, but no more." I should be the controlling factor and have, of course, a backup of spouse, children, whatever, that have access to these records. But that way I have more of a sense of privacy, of ownership, of agency. And I just don't feel like that right now. Because why does every flippin' doctor go in and ask you the same questions about
over and over again?
Health history. Do you have any cancer in your family? Is it's like the same questions. I'm filling out the same clipboard. I had to just be able to go. I started putting that stuff in Notion so I can just copy and paste it, or at least I go, what medications are you taking? It's like, I don't remember. I take like 8 pills every morning. And now I can just open up a Notion and go, oh yeah, taking A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H, because I said 8. Here, publish or share or whatever. It's like that's the level of agency I want with my medical records. Why doesn't that exist?
You know what?
We can make that happen.
It may exist now because I'm sure people at Epic, Judith Faulkner, whoever is thinking, wait a minute, can I sell a subscription of Epic to individuals directly to consumer?
I'll pay $10 a month for that.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's what, over 50% of American health records are on Epic already. Mm-hmm. And they have a service for physicians and, doctors' offices and, of course, hospitals. And now,
do you guys ever work at a hospital?
I did, yeah.
No.
I worked
I worked at a hospital when they were transitioning from their custom EMR, electronic medical record system, to Epic.
I used to do Epic downtimes.
I remember it was a nightmare.
Yes.
But also, like, I'm assuming that would be that'd be so difficult to do. I understand your want, and I want that too. But that, in my opinion, that goes back to like the self-hosting. Like, you should have your stuff on your own servers then. Like,
well,
you know what I mean?
If you want to run a cache database and Linux and
it should almost be like a crypto wallet in a way. My records are my records, and they're not going anywhere unless I give permission.
That might be a good use for blockchain.
Question
Epic
is, question is, if Epic comes out and says, "Hey, we have a new subscription service," of course they're going to charge. Epic there's a reason why the founder's a billionaire,
and we're in a subscription society anyway.
Well, that, and then also keep in mind the founder of Epic put all her equity into a trust to keep Epic private. So that's very much a control freak type of mentality. Yes. Stories I've heard, the founder, who's brilliant, is also wants to control things. Once again, controlling the whole experience, right? And you have to think about that. Just exactly what you're saying, Chuck. Are we at the point now where Epic come out and say, hey, we're going to have a subscription service? We, of course, since most of your records are probably on Epic anyway, we can, of course, the standard data transfer, we can put it into a wallet for you. It could be a blockchain, right? Or maybe encrypted, whatever. But it's like, would you go for that? And Chuck, you're saying yes. I'd be iffy on that one. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, it's got to be price dependent, affordable for low income families, et cetera, et cetera. A few years ago, I was at the ServiceNow sales kickoff, and I got a call from.
I was there too.
In the middle of the conference, I get a call from Heart Doctor going, "Oh, we didn't get your consent form from your dentist. Like, somebody had to say, you can't take aspirin for a week. Could you fax that over?" I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Hey, I'm not even anywhere near a fax machine. Those things went out of style 20 years ago.
No, faxes are still used.
I know they're still used, but they don't need to be used. Jason's covering his face. I love it.
Because point-to-point security of fax machines, it received it. Email is people will have trust in email, and you got to remember, a lot of email, number one, is not encrypted,
right?
And number two, email is still a black hole. You send an email,
and it could go into nowhere. But it's
someone who used to have to receive faxes at a hospital, I'm telling you, they might receive it and they might just go in the garbage.
Yes, that too.
Plus,
but
they know they uses standard telephone lines. Who has a standard telephone line anymore in their house?
I don't.
And standard telephone lines can be intercepted. So,
well, more than likely, no one's got the technology to intercept it anymore at this point.
Yeah, because they don't understand their telephone line.
It's like, there's there's fax machines and someone's using it when you hear in the news there's a theft of the Smithsonian that someone stole telephony equipment, and they're probably using it to hack into some super secret fax machine at a hospital.
It's the old mechanical switches from Deutsche Telekom.
Hey, I'm sure they're there somewhere, right?
When you guys talk about those old things, all I can think about is the old phreaking. When I first learned about actual old school hacking, where you'd blow on gum wrapper
French 2600 whistle
to enable long distance for free.
Well, the funniest thing is when there's that whole model context protocol, right? The MCP of AIs talking to each other. And there was some video about one AI saying, oh, I'm an AI and I'm an AI. And then they started talking in a language. It sounded very eerily similar to modems. And people were freaking out about this AI's talking. And I'm like, where the heck have you guys been? This sounds like my 28.8 modem I had on my 46SX compact Contura running 8 megs of RAM. Like,
except you could decode that thing. You can't decode the MCP stuff if they're talking like their own made up language.
Well, I couldn't. Well, that's the thing. There's nothing is truly made up. I don't believe that.
Built on other stuff.
It's built on something.
I mean,
if there's a model context protocol, someone created an open standard that the AI is using. It's not Skynet. It's not the Terminator. Come on.
I'm just saying.
Don't get me excited. Don't get me excited, Jace, because I'm just waiting for the AI to take over. They're going to knock on my house and be like, are you Michael Slobodnik? I'm going to be like, yes. They're like, you're always polite to us. We're going to save you.
I know that some of those longer models, what was that? DeepSeek, like DeepSeek, and the equivalent, like now US based ones. Like you'd ask the question, it asks the question of itself in its own context. With DeepSeek, you can see what it says. But I've read, and I haven't seen this personally, where it answers it starts answering the question, and then it goes into a different language to like go further, and then it comes back to English to answer you. Right? Like I've heard that. I've seen some of that.
Send me that. You gotta send me that one. I gotta see that one.
That's very.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying I need to see it.
It's going to lose something in translation, though.
You would think.
Just for fun, I wrote an API in ServiceNow that went out to Google Translate and said, "Here's a song. Go translate this into 8 different random languages and then back to English." And it was funny as heck when it came back.
But I really got to wonder though.
For your karaoke app.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Chuck, we should have had you on when I showed the trivia app that I had. I don't know if you remember years ago, I did like a trivia
I do remember you writing that. Whatever became of it?
Well, I did Trivia Now 2.0 when I presented that at Knowledge. So I upgraded it and whatever, still built on some of the same stuff, but we were kind of showing it off one of our podcasts. And, I'm thinking I've finished polishing it up and maybe we start doing regular trivia with people. Like actually they can all join, and then we can steal their data, right?
Hey.
And we can sell it. Boom, millionaires right there.
Brilliant.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. But, speaking of like the data part, because I'm totally changing topic because I'm excited for this, even though Jace, you're going to be like, eh.
It's fine. Let's talk about it.
Workflow Data Fabric Hub. Workflow Data Fabric Hub came out, and I'm not in product management. What I've heard, I'm not going to confirm nor deny it at this point because I don't know what I could be held liable for, but I've heard it's built off of this thing called Trino. Have you heard of Trino before?
I've never heard of Trino.
Okay, so Trino is a distributed SQL query
it's like Cassandra
language here. I don't know what Cassandra is. Here it is. Can you see the picture? Is it up?
Yes.
So basically Trino works like this. It can connect to several different data sources, and it has these workers, multi-threaded type of workers that are pulling the data together. Now, if you read about Trino, and I've got like this book on Trino, I went and got it, and it's been great for me to understand it, it is built on Java and built on JVMs, and those JVMs essentially are the workers or the nodes. Now, is there anything that you know of, Jason and Chuck, that is also built on Java and has JVMs and workers?
Sounds like ServiceNow.
Sounds like ServiceNow. And this is the brilliant part of it, because I was trying to learn, hey, I've always done the concept of no copy. I've demoed it for years. I have like a SQL connector and a connection to like Jira, and I can pull in that data, no copy into my instance. But one of the challenges has always been, look, when you make that call in real time, you've got one connection through Integration Hub. And if you've got thousands and thousands of records, guess what you're doing while it's loading?
Nothing.
Horrible user experience, right?
Yep.
So, ServiceNow Workflow Data Fabric Hub is now a big deal. Going once again to data, why I want to steal people's data and sell it and, maybe retire one day. as well as OpenAI, as well as Google and everyone else, is the fact that there's this idea that AI needs data.
Yes.
Right? And ServiceNow, moving in the AI space, enterprise space, wants to get that data to help drive the AI. Everyone wants to do it. But if you do no copy, because a lot of people are like, I don't want to copy stuff to your database, there's that question of how do you pull in massive amount of data where people aren't waiting? And apparently this is the answer. Workers, Trino, connecting multiple data sources, pulling together. So when I made that connection of being like, wow, JVM nodes, pretty awesome. We already live in that space.
Does it just load the stuff in memory, make it available in memory at the moment?
Basically, yeah.
So then you need a bunch of machines with a bunch of memory to hold the data set you need to do what you need to do.
Well, no, that's the magic behind the SAS is doing all that.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to make it not magic. So I understand.
I know you do. You don't like to make things magic. I believe in magic. But now you have to start thinking about, well, you now have all these different workers that are all connecting, and it could be like a bunch of them connecting to one data source, but then bringing the data in parallel and somehow bringing it together so it can pull thousands of records and not wait. And you can't have that waiting because we're already waiting on the NVIDIA chips to do a processing, right? But that's the biggest thing. And the only thing that's annoying me now is, zero copy as a concept, but now it's kind of becoming a capability. And now there's like, well, is zero copy like a true concept where maybe you're using Integration Hub and remote tables, or are you doing zero copy with these zero copy connectors now that we're, coming out with? That's going to be massive confusion, just like we have 20 different studios. Don't play the studio drinking game. I tried. I'm not going to tell you where I wound up, just that, the person was very nice.
It's a studio builder designer.
Yeah, really. Building a studio. Yeah, exactly. And creator.
My big problem with Workflow Data Fabric already is I can't try it out.
You and I've heard of at least one other naysayer who I just replied like, okay, dude, I know.
I understand people can be excited about it, but until it's like available for people to check out, like
it's available for
why
me.
Bother? Yeah, I don't work at ServiceNow.
Well,
you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like in general, like this is why I went out and built my own AI thing outside of ServiceNow's AI thing, because it's just unavailable, and to get through sales to get it to happen, it just becomes very difficult. Well, especially when the ROI isn't, the return on investment isn't clear.
I don't know.
Right?
We've had this discussion before. When I've done stuff, I've seen saving the time value is there, but.
I'm not saying it doesn't necessarily save time. I'm saying it may not be the return on value that people think it is, though. Like, how much is it worth to save 5 minutes of one person's work, or 5 minutes of 1,000 people's work? Right?
Saving and 5 minutes of 1,000 people's work multiple times a day, it adds up. Transactions.
Maybe if you can ensure that you have that, right? Like, I understand what you're saying. It's really hard for me to get behind a product that I can't try.
I do. You're very similar like me, and Chuck, you're probably like that as well. It's like I need to tangibly touch it.
Yes.
I need to see it. And I don't blame the customers that say, well, we want to do like a proof of concept or whatever, because I totally get that. Like, I want to see it.
You got to sell yourself first.
Yes. But needless to say, when I learned some of the architecture and was like, oh, JVM's work, oh, now it's a light bulb going off, which is slower than the light bulb of the event that's coming up. That's a perfect transition. Because one of the reasons why we brought Chuck here today to not only be famous for the first podcast to have him on as a guest, but also he is a speaker on the October 17th event, Null Edge, which I haven't submitted a speaker proposal for. I need to. I know I'm on vacation. I will do something. Man. I'll throw something in. I'm not sure what, but
it doesn't have to be long and fancy and lots of slides. It's whatever you want to, whatever you're passionate about. That's even better,
because other conferences I presented on, it had to be long and fancy and everything. And if it didn't
we're making this low friction.
Low friction. So Chuck, tell me, what kind of drew you to this?
Jace asked, and he said,
he asked me stuff, and I usually say yes. So
he's very that way. He said, hey. We've got this conference. It's kind of an unconference sort of thing that's focusing on ServiceNow technical. And I'm like, I'm still ServiceNow technical. I've written what 2-3 apps since I retired. That's
nice.
and trying to sell another one, not sell, but trying to convince people to use another one. And you know, so it's in my DNA. You're not gonna just because I retired didn't mean I stopped writing code and apps and whatnot.
That brings up a good concept.
This is fun. And you know, he said, "Would you be interested in being a part of the keynote?" And of course, my ears went up when I hear keynote. It's not jumping around on stage like an idiot, like a CreatorCon, but it's close enough. You know, we did 2 digital CreatorCons for Knowledge 20 and 21. So probably be standing in this same room at the same microphone, along with, are we allowed to share names, Jace?
Yeah, I mean, they're on the website right now.
Hey, look, only about 3 or 4 people are going to hear it. Like my mom doesn't even listen. So
we're going to socialize the heck out of this thing, man.
You're starting here. Is this the first time you're announcing it?
Your listenership will double. No, I mean, just if I start socializing that I was on Star 42.
Yes, we'll probably get like 100 people because Chuck, you have to understand. 4. I don't care. Chuck, you have to understand, dropping your name anywhere, everyone's like, oh my God, that guy? Like,
if you say so, that's...
God, stop being so humble. You're just, I would say you're not that great, but you are that great. So you can get away with being humble.
I literally showed your face, Chuck, to a guy in another community, not in ServiceNow. He's like, I know that face. Where do I know that face? I'm like, you've probably seen it online.
But, yes. Yeah, so me, Carlene Carter, help me out with the
Justin Meadows.
Justin Meadows and Jace. We just had a meeting this morning going, what do we want this keynote to look like? What does the rest of the conference look like? What do we need to move this forward? What's the timeline for speaker submissions and letting the speakers know they're accepted and right up to October 17th. So we did a really comprehensive kickoff meeting this morning with the 4 of us. And then we said,
we're all of one mind.
We are all of one mind. Everybody's in agreement. There's no rebels on the crew. We're forming another team to do the reviews of the submissions. So it's not going to be us 4. We're talking about what is the format? Is it going to be, hi, welcome to our conference for 20 minutes and then we go hide? Or do we sort of MC like Tracy and I do on the holiday special Snug, where we pop in and make comments and join the comedian, whatever. So we're working out all those details and it's coming together nicely. We're very productive. We're going to talk again in a couple of weeks and see where we are.
All right. Well, good. The good thing is I have a co-host that's also, heavily involved. And so I'm looking forward to hearing updates on this one. I'm going to make you talk about it.
Heavily involved.
Heavily involved. I'm not going to be heavily involved. I'm going to do a speaker of whatever stuff. Don't involve me in anything else because I'm not one of those people. I'm not like here's a great idea and I'm going to go execute. I'm like, here's a great idea. Someone else go do it, but give me credit. And that doesn't work. I tried to do that
second part. It didn't work. I became accountable.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, you have to have some leadership pants on to go. Here's the vision. I trust you. You're grown-up adults. If you have questions, run them by me. But this is the direction we're going. It might not be exactly where you want to end up, because oftentimes the other way is also effective, but you got to keep the machine running on projects like this. So it was a good combination of people with fresh ideas, old experience, blah 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 blah. And
it's not very often when 4 of us get on a call and almost all of us are from ServiceNow pre-2010.
It was like Carlene gets on. She goes, "Hi, I'm Carlene. Been with ServiceNow since 2009, and it's rare that I have people on a call that have been there longer than me." It's like Jace is from 2008, 7.
Very tail end of 7.
Even me, who's been one of the longest people in the ServiceNow community, I started in 2011. So you beat me by miles.
Yeah, I keep seeing announcements on LinkedIn for like 10th anniversary. I'm going, man, that was 2015.
Like, what happened?
Oh man, I feel old.
What was that? 10 years already.
Well, I was listening to. You guys know who Chris Shue is?
Yes.
Why do I not know who Chris Shue is?
He's a certified master architect. He does some live streams on LinkedIn. He had one today with Ty Roach, and Ty was saying, "I started working on ServiceNow back in Aspen." I was thinking to myself, he only started in Aspen.
I started spring of 2010, by the way.
What a youngin'.
That was when the fenders got put on the car.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Aspen barely got that title. And I was like, I thought he was on longer. That's okay, though. We all start somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, you do. And
It's a great conversation starter.
Soon we're going to have the alphabet's going to start all over again. And people are going to be like, I remember working on ServiceNow in the first round of the alphabet.
First alphabet.
And that just is it just goes to show the longevity of Uncle Fred's. I always call him Uncle Fred. Uncle Fred's vision. I'm no relation to him whatsoever. I'm always too shy to talk to him. But I do have the Forbes cover magazine. I've said this before. He's signed it and autographed it, so I got that framed.
That's cool.
Which is, to me, I'm like, and I have an extra copy somewhere. I don't know. I can't find it yet. I'm hoping it's in the safe. But needless to say, I'm excited for Null Edge. I just
love that name.
Yeah. Who came up? Did you come up with that, Jace?
No. That was his name is Slava S. I can't say his last name.
People whose names are like Slava, Slobodnik, that kind of thing, are smart people. I'm just.
It reminds me of the way people say America. This is
Null
Edge.
This is Null Edge.
We're going to Null Edge.
Yep. It'll be exciting. I'm excited to see what comes of it, and excited to get it all off the ground and get people excited to check it out in RSVP. And if you haven't, go to thenulledge.com. THENULLEDGE.com.
We'll put that in the show notes. I think we did the last podcast.
Yeah. Yep.
I was just talking when you were saying it. Sorry.
What is it? Right. 97 days or something left?
97 days, hours, and minutes count.
But
I have it here. 97 days, 17 hours, 25 minutes, 52 seconds.
Well, the one thing I'll say on it is it's the first time doing this, community driven, right? And like I said, I'm an avid TikToker. One of the things that came across my For You page I'm loving is things about the Savannah Bananas. I don't know if you've listened to Acquired or ACQ podcast. They recently just had an interview with the guy who created Savannah Bananas. And it was this guy who was like, I want to change baseball and make this new club thing. And it's crazy. They'll do dances and stuff. They have a guy who comes on stilts. And they've got rules in baseball like, if it's a foul ball and a fan catches it, the person's out.
I like that.
And it, to me, it's like, wow, this is really fun baseball. And they don't have their own stadiums, but they've been like selling out like 80,000, fans. And he's the founder, this guy named Jesse, I don't remember his last name, has got a very good approach where he's like, you know what? We are here for the fans. The tickets are like $35. We're never charging more. And it's all about entertainment, and he'll be out there signing stuff and everyone's trying to get autographs, and the security will be like, hey, let's have people leave. And it'll be like, no, everyone stays until everyone gets whatever they want, for signing. Like, just amazing. Point being, I'm saying all this is because when he talks about what they've tried in Savannah Bananas as this baseball, and this is, I think, great lesson, this knowledge, please take this to heart, is it more than likely will possibly fail the first time. Just like when he was doing this whole thing, it failed. And you know what? He just kept doing it. And I'm excited for that because it's something new and it's not going to go perfect. Chuck, you were just saying the whole, maybe it's not going to be the direction that you think it's going to go. But I think you're onto something phenomenal. And yes, eventually I'm going to be like, oh yeah, let me submit a. Problem is, you know what it is? You haven't given me a deadline to submit, or have you?
No, there's a deadline.
Okay. August 17th.
August 7th. Okay, perfect. Because I don't procrastinate. I do just-in-time delivery, which means
we're gonna start socializing the bejeebies out of this thing to get people.
August 16th, 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, or whatever the cutoff is. I'll get the speaker submission in.
Jace, have you given any thought to what happens if a partner approaches you and say, "Hey, we'd like to participate/sponsor in this"?
There's been some discussions on the Basecamp about sponsorships, and I've been very quiet about it in the committee because it turns out if I say things, people listen to me and they want to just do what Jay says.
Yes,
yeah. But I do. But my opinion is keep money out as long as we possibly can.
Yeah, because then you maintain this direction. You've got to form an LLC and find out how you're going to handle that money. That's part of it, is the financial aspect.
Yeah. So
the other part about it,
then there's the political aspect, like, hey, how did this just turn into a Partner X conference? What steerage are they incorporating? So yeah, there's a lot to wrap our head around. So this is gonna be an interesting one, the first one.
Yeah. I think when it comes to sponsorship, I think I take the lesson from, once again, that guy Jesse, and also Judith Faulkner, founder of Epic, is sometimes it's better to just maintain control. and just be like, you know what? No, we're controlling it.
As long as it's virtual, I don't think that's going to be as big of an issue because you can host, 10,000 people virtually a whole lot cheaper than you can do it in person. Because you get in person, you got to get a facility and hotel and catering and blah, 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 blah. Suddenly you're going, whoa, where are we getting all this money? We got to look at sponsorships. So we're not there yet, but if it ever turns IRL,
right now it's just out of my pocket. Whatever it's going to cost, we'll figure that out.
Take donations.
I'm willing to eat it. So, and that's totally fine.
Patreon members.
I'm not worried about the money. I want to see the event happen.
See, this is why Jason and I work so well together in our conversations. Neither one of us are very financially minded. For me, I'm like, I'm
financially minded. I'm not worried about the money for this.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I have a budget in my head of where it's going to go, and it's not going to exceed that budget. So anything under that budget is fair game.
But I'm just saying, for how I see it, it's very community driven, and we want to keep it there.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. There are partners who've proposed talks already, and I'm all about it as long as it makes sense and it's valuable and it's people can take that home and do work with it, right?
Okay.
But if it's like, hey, we have this new app, it costs $2 billion and nobody has it, let's try it out. It's probably not going to be a thing spoke about. No. Because if nobody's buying it, if it's not available for everybody, what do they care?
That's a good point. Well, I know we have been on for twice as long as we normally would.
It's true. It's true.
My fault. My fault.
No, well, first of all, I will blame you, but who doesn't love talking to Chuck? And I'll be honest, I remember years ago we were doing some maybe it was a knowledge. I don't know. We had dinner together and hung out some. And I now realize how precious that was to get one-on-one time with Chuck. You don't understand. It's never happened since.
No,
I think I've only had it 2 or 3 times.
I cherish every one of those.
Yeah.
I miss them. I wish we could do it more often.
I got to come out to the west and hang out or something. My brother lives out there, but I never see him. But I'll come see you.
Daniel Trace was out here. I saw Daniel Trace. He was the first ServiceNow employee I saw after retirement because he was out here with his family up in Wittenberg at a dude ranch.
Wow.
So we drove an hour, had dinner with him. It was a good time.
Nice. I would fly out to go visit you, Chuck. Not my brother. No.
That's brutal.
You know what? My brother and I
family's
two different people. Just two different people.
Every family's different. That's all I gotta remember about that.
Yeah. But all right. Anyway, we are up at time.
Yep.
Once again, check out the Null Edge. We'll put it in show notes. Chuck, thank you very much for your time. We're glad you're enjoying life. You deserve it. And this is Michael.
This is Jace.
And this is Chuck. All right. Thank you for joining us. In a couple weeks, we'll talk to you again. Bye.